So we have seen a huge drop, 60% roughly drop of the Tacoma sales just for Q1 here. What is it truly going to take for us to be interested in this? What is it truly going to take for these to fly off of dealership lots? Because they have started to stack up across the nation. This is a first ever for them, and hopefully it serves as a wake-up call. Brand new truck, nobody's interested, we need to make some changes. A turbocharged platform that doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. The grille's likely going to be loose, you got goofy panel gaps all throughout it. The quality control is not there. The quality control is not what we see out of Japan, and I think we can be critical of that. We should absolutely be critical of that as consumers. We don't just need to roll over and be like, okay, it's a Toyota, it has a Toyota badge on it, let's buy it. Absolutely not. And even a bird got a look at the price tag and was like, nah. Do you think Toyota would halt production for a little bit just to kind of lessen the supply as they see them all stacking up at their dealership lots in America? They're smart, they're not dumb. They see the writing on the wall. People don't want it and they see it. But if they lessen that supply, maybe they'll want it a little bit more. Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So a recent report indicated that Toyota had to halt operations out of one of their Toyota Tacoma plants down in Mexico. They had to halt operations for 19 days. And still, even with that huge halt to operations down there due to a worker shortage, gee, I wonder why, since they're only paying them $2.70 per hour. That's kind of funny. But they have a worker shortage down there, and because of that, they had to stop operations. But here we are. You see what you see behind me here. This is just a few of many that are at this particular Toyota dealership, and this is a very common sight. Most Toyota dealerships around me have at least 30 brand new Tacomas just sitting on the lot, at least. Some of them have into 50s, 60s, just down south a bit. So these are sitting on lots. People are not wanting them, and that's for a number of reasons. So I really want to kind of peel back the onion in this video a little bit more than I normally do and just highlight those sales figures, highlight what the competition is bringing to the table, and truly explain why people are actually peeling off of Toyota. People like myself, Toyota enthusiasts, are leaving Toyota because they're forcing stuff like this, junk like this down our throats. This is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder platform here, turbocharged platform that doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. The grille's likely going to be loose, you got goofy panel gaps all throughout it. The quality control is not there. The quality control is not what we see out of Japan, and I think we can be critical of that. We should absolutely be critical of that as consumers. We don't just need to roll over and be like, okay, it's a Toyota, it has a Toyota badge on it, let's buy it. Absolutely not. If they're going to be spitting out garbage like that, continue to do what you're doing, as we're clearly doing right now, and continue to vote with your pocketbook. Don't succumb to just buying it because it's a Toyota. You know, be critical of it. There's better options out there for us to consider, and that is abundantly clear that people are considering those other options, like that Nissan Frontier, like the Chevy Colorado ZR2, like the GMC Canyon AT4X. Those, on paper and financially, me speaking, they're much better buys. So we're going to talk through a little bit more of that in today's video. Stick with me. Some of you feel that the EPA is forcing the hand of manufacturers. Hate to break it to you guys, that is not the case. The truth is, listen to the sentence here, the truth is they're just incentivized less to continue building naturally aspirated platforms, like a naturally aspirated V6 and the V8 over there that you see in my Tundra. They're just incentivized less, meaning they get a lot more government subsidies to cram these 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged platforms, these hybridized platforms, putting battery packs in it. They get more carbon credits, if you will. They get more government subsidies. That's all. That's all it is. They're not being forced. They have a choice. Like, look at other vehicle manufacturers. Other vehicle manufacturers are still continuously putting out naturally aspirated platforms. Look at Ford. Even Ford has gone on the record recently, the CEO saying, we will always strive to have a naturally aspirated V8 option, especially within our sports car lineup, within our Mustang in particular, what he was talking about. So I just want to let you guys know that it is not EPA forcing the hand of them, unless you consider them just incentivizing them not as much, forcing, but that's not an accurate statement. And this example behind me paints a picture very clearly. We talk about them hiking prices up 25-30%. This is a 2024 Tacoma SR5. MSRP on the last generation, the 2023 model with the naturally aspirated V6, was $32,000 and some change. Nowadays, we're starting right around $41,000 for an SR5. For an SR5, over 40 grand. Let me show you how much this one cost in particular. That's ridiculous. So them moving this to Mexico cut their labor expenses down over 80%, right? So they're paying Mexican workers, Mexican employees down in Mexico only $2.70 per hour, whereas in America, the average is right about $15.20 an hour for an American employee, like working down at one of the Texas plants. So they're cutting their labor costs over 80%. But here we are, we don't see any savings. In fact, we see quite the opposite. We see a 25 to 30% price increase across the board, which is pretty pathetic. So what I'm about to say is totally speculative, okay? There's no basis behind it, but I feel like it is worth mentioning. I want to get your thoughts on it, truly. So I've seen some people post, hey, I think the whole stoppage of production down in Mexico due to a worker shortage is fabricated to some degree, right? I personally believe there's some truth behind it with how little they pay Mexican employees, but it does have some credence to it. So them stopping production down there lends itself to having a lesser supply, and having a lesser supply will up the demand a little bit, obviously, naturally. We saw that during COVID, right? When there was a low supply of everything, that's when dealerships were deploying greedy markups. We saw it left and right. So there is a balancing act, and really historically Toyota, Honda, Mazda, they've all done that, and they've done it on purpose, and they've always kind of done it very well. By doing it well, they've been able to keep their prices at MSRP, or sometimes higher, unfortunately. They're able to do that and sell at top dollar. Whereas with GM, Ford even, they'll pump out a crap ton of F-150s, a crap ton of brand new Silverados, and then that forces them to actually slash the prices closer to invoice. They have to slash prices $8,000 to $10,000 in a heartbeat just to sell it. And because of that, that's always kind of adversely affected resale value of GM products in particular, right, in that example. But I don't know, I just want to throw that out there. What do you think? Do you think Toyota would halt production for a little bit just to kind of lessen the supply as they see them all stacking up at their dealership lots in America? They're smart, they're not dumb. They see the writing on the wall. People don't want it and they see it. But if they lessen that supply, maybe they'll want it a little bit more. So I often get some people saying, hey, no, people are just waiting for the TRD Pro model to come out. They're just waiting for the Trail Hunter to come out, and then they're gonna sell like hotcakes. Really, guys? I don't personally believe that. I think people are smart, they've wisened up, they see the price tags of this. That TRD Pro and Trail Hunter, $65,000 plus, and that's before greedy dealers want to try to tack a markup on it. People aren't going to be too eager for that. And the other day I watched another video of the 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, and it really was a cruel reminder of just how tiny these back seats are, even compared to the previous generation. The previous generation at least had another 5-6 inches seemingly to where you can actually fit someone in there, fit your legs in there. With the TRD Pro in particular, you get the integrated suspension within the seats that takes even more leg room. So heaven forbid you have to get an adult back there. It's just not going to happen, especially with the TRD Pro. It's just tiny. That is not ideal, and if you have kiddos even, it's just not ideal. Bring back big back seats. Bring back big back seats. Bring back... Dang! You know, a lot of people are pretty quick to report the rattly interiors. You got a lot of rattle within the inside, a lot of loose. The glove compartment's loose, the center console's loose on these. A lot of complaints about the quality control and the front grille. I've seen a lot of videos of people just kind of pulling the grille and just being really shaky and loose. But another thing that people don't talk too much about is just the panel gap issues, right? I mean, we get them all throughout. I mean, tailgate is a pretty primary spot. You know, right here we have a larger gap. You know, you can maybe stick the, I can probably, get my end of my pinky entirely in there pretty easily. Then you go over here, and over here, it is super tight by comparison. I don't know if you can get a good idea what I'm looking at. This is way tighter by comparison. And this is what I'm talking about, people. You truly do get what you pay for, and I know people hate hearing that, but if you were to buy something built in China, you're not going to get the same product that you would get if it was built in Japan, or even America, I would argue, right? And even a bird got to look at the price tag and was like, nah. You know, one of the core values of Toyota has always been just simplicity. You know, the Kaizen approach, always making small, continuous improvements toward perfection, right? Small, easy steps to get to perfection over a long length of time. This here, I don't know, this distanced themselves from that core value tremendously in my personal opinion, right? We have this overly complex platform, especially with the iForce Max that's going to be in the TRD Pro and Trail Hunter. When you pop the hood on that, like we looked on the Land Cruiser the other day, it's got the same power plant under that. So much wire, so much tubage underneath that hood where a modern Joe or Jane, like you and I, cannot just pop the hood anymore and be like, oh yeah, let me just, oh, something's wrong with my battery here. Let me just tinker with the wiring here. I'll fix that real quick. That's not going to be the case. You got to go there now. You got to go back to the dealership and have a technician who's heavily trained to fix that complex engine. They've gotten too complex, too complicated, and that is a huge fault for this new generation here. I do feel like I just need to give the 4Runner a little bit of love every time I get an opportunity, guys. This right here is truly the last of Akio Toyota's vision, right? This is the last of the trusty, true, reliable platforms out there that will get you 250,000 miles with minimal issue and minimal headache with minimal maintenance, and I stand by that. This is a great buy if you have the opportunity to get one. This will give you perfect peace of mind with that naturally aspirated 4-liter V6. Much love to the 5th generation 4Runner. It's a dying breed. So here we have one competitor with the Tacoma over there, and I personally believe that the Ranger Raptor is a better buy. It's $5,000 less than the Tacoma TRD Pro, and those are kind of a head-to-head segment there. So the Ranger Raptor, I do think is a better buy. This is debatable. We got the XLT Rangers here, but still, compared to those prices over there, much of those Tacomas are nearing $50,000. A couple of the TRD Sports are $52,000, $53,000. Here, we're 10 grand less than that. We're 10 grand less for this FX4 off-road Ford Ranger XLT here, right? You can poke at Ford all you want, but at least the price tag feels a little bit more appropriate for what you're getting, and a much bigger back seat for the record, seemingly, with this back door here. But still, you do get a 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine, a turbocharged platform, which it's hard to love that, right? So we're already seeing Toyota dealerships across the country discount this $2,500 to $3,000 pretty quickly and publicly. It's just like announcing sales on this with incentivized rates. We're seeing that left and right. What is it truly going to take for us to be interested in this? What is it truly going to take for these to fly off of dealership lots? Because they have started to stack up across the nation. What is it going to be? Do you think they need to come down 25, 30% off of that? Right? We see that with GM. GM does it all the time. Sometimes Ford will drop their prices, 25, 30% in order to actually move their inventory. That would be wild to see Toyota deploy that, because we just are not used to seeing them do that. So that'd be kind of a taboo sight for a lot of folks. But truly, you answer that question. What is it going to take for you to be truly interested in this 4-banger Tacoma? Now it's just a real quick reminder to the fanboys out there who are geeking out way too hard about that turbo and intake sound on that 4-banger. This is what a real truck sounds like, boys. Sorry. Do you think we're going to see the same thing with the Tacoma that we've seen with the Tundra here? We know that Toyota overproduced the Tundra here, hiked up the price tag beyond belief. Many of these here behind me, between $70,000 and $80,000. My TRD Pro here, back in 2021, when it was brand new, $54,000. 54 grand, and then the next year in 2022 they hiked up the TRD Pro price on the new design, $71,000. So pretty insane, the price hikes that we've seen, and that is a huge piece of the equation, right? A huge piece. They price people out of the market, and we've seen that now with the Tacoma. Recently Toyota really beat their chest saying, hey, we saw record sales figures, selling over 15,300 brand new Tundras back in March. So that was a record-setting month for them, and they're beating their chest about it. But they shouldn't, because you want to know why they sold a record number of them? Is because they have had so many sitting on their lots for the whole year prior to that. So many just sitting on lots, collecting dust in back lots, secondary and third lots. We're talking 100 plus per dealership, and oftentimes, and because of that giant backlog, they had to slash prices, and that's why I've started showing you guys these $8,000 to $10,000 discounts on these new Tundras. 8 to 10 grand off. We've never seen Toyota do that on their Tundra, but they have to. They have to, because they see the writing on the wall. If they don't slash the prices and offer 1.9% interest rates, they won't move the inventory. So unfair for them to beat their chest for epic sales because they had to cut prices down drastically. Pretty pathetic. Do you think we're going to see that with the Tacoma? So for Q1 2024 here, Toyota sold about 21,500 brand new Tacomas. A normal quarter previous to that, for back in 2023, was anywhere between 48,000 and 55,000 new Tacomas sold. So we have seen a huge drop, 60% roughly drop of the Tacoma sales just for Q1 here. To be fair, obviously it came online in Q1 2024. It came online as brand new. So of course we're going to see a little bit better sales, I'd imagine, moving forward. But that is still no excuse as to why we have seen so many just arrive to lots and just immediately collect dust. That is the first time ever for Toyota to ever do that. Produce a full new redesigned pickup truck, perhaps arguably their most iconic pickup truck, most popular midsize pickup truck anyway when it comes to sales historically. They've never introduced a full new redesign and had them just sit on dealership lots. This is a first ever for them, and hopefully it serves as a wake-up call. brand new truck, nobody's interested. We need to make some changes. You know, and I didn't see a single sold sign over there on any of the Tacomas, but here I go over to the GMC dealership, and this GMC Canyon AT4 has a sold sign in it. So congrats, Colt. And I don't blame Colt for buying this, right? There's a lot of people out there who are not having a whole lot of confidence in that Tacoma, and rightfully so. If you're gonna buy a 4-banger turbocharged midsize pickup truck, you may as well get something that at least is a little bit proven at this point, right? This one has the 2.7 liter Turbo Max 4-cylinder with the 8-speed automatic transmission. That price tag there, you know, that's just under the TRD Sport that I showed you over at the Toyota dealership. So what do you think? I mean, is this a wiser buy? You know, we do have a little bit bigger of a back seat here. And at this point, like I said, it's been out for a number of years. People have gotten a chance to get used to it and get some confidence in this new GMC. What do you think? So we see a lot of Toyota enthusiasts jumping ship. They're jumping ship to brands like Nissan here in particular. We've seen a notable uptick in sales of the Nissan Frontier here. Why? Because they still offer a very reliable, naturally aspirated platform. It's a 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6. They still offer it, right? And the price tag is much more bearable. It's much more affordable, and that's what people want. They want simplicity. They want to be able to pop the hood and actually be able to work on their truck. And you can do that with the Nissan here. Sure, you can maybe poke at it a little bit about it being a Nissan, I get it, but the price tag's right. And on top of the better price tag compared to the Tacoma, you can actually get great deals on these. You can get big discounts on them and incentivized interest rates. We're talking 1.9% interest rate over 72 months. That's pretty common nowadays. So you can't really fault people for getting a little bit more of a reliable platform. This V6 here has been out since 2019. It's pretty well tested. That gives people a lot better peace of mind compared to a very complex turbocharged 4-cylinder coming out of that Tacoma there. So here we have the lineup of Nissan Frontiers at my local dealership. This here is the Pro 4X Nissan Frontier, and technically speaking, you know, it's a top trim Nissan Frontier that is comparable to the TRD Pro Tacoma. But look at that price tag. That price tag right there, $44,000 and some change, is not comparable to that TRD Pro coming out. We're talking a $21,000 gap between the new TRD Pro and this Pro 4X. They're both 2024 models, but a $21,000 gap. The best part, you can easily get a Nissan right now for several $1,000s off. I'm talking, you could probably get this down $38,000 pretty easily if you just tried. Nissan Corporate is actually encouraging Nissan dealerships across the country to drop prices 10 to 15%, cut prices, move inventory, because they have seen an uptick in inventory as well. It's not just Toyota who's subject to that, but they have seen an uptick in their sales for the Nissan Frontier because people are not too impressed with what they're seeing from Toyota. I mean, it's no shocker that funds are tight for people. Funds are tight right now across the US. Everything has just gone up tremendously in price. So when we see a vehicle like the Nissan Frontier here staying true to form and staying affordable and reliable, obviously debatable to some degree, but it still does have a very simplistic engine and a simplistic overall interior for this. So this is just what a lot of people enjoy. And when you can spend 40 grand and easily 35 grand if you were to buy this today, I'm sure, you can get this with a 1.9% interest rate easily through Nissan. You just can't do that through Toyota right now. And this gives people much better peace of mind because you can actually pop that hood right there and work on this much easier. And for about $50,000, you can easily pick up a top trim Nissan Titan, right? You can get several $1,000s off the MSRP there and get a great interest rate on one of these too. And to me, this really is an unsung hero at this point. It is last of a dying breed with a 5.6 liter V8. This truly will be the last of its kind. Very reminiscent of all the things that I like in my Tundra TRD Pro over there, my V8 Tundra. We find it here in the Titan. So I just want to give a quick shout out to the Titan. So we'll wrap up the video there, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. Am I being too harsh on Toyota? You can let me know if you think I am. A couple of you have actually come up on mic and said, hey man, you've already done a couple of videos on the Tacoma. You've made your point. I disagree. I feel like if we want Toyota to actually make a positive change, you need to beat the drum. There's goodness in doing this. They can't just do one video, oh hey, that video did good, cool, let's call it quits. It's more important than that. It's more important to actually send a signal of the critique that we have, and based on a lot of your comments, guys, I'm not alone in many of these thoughts here. What do you think Toyota needs to do to actually make some positive changes? Do you think they need to drop their prices 25, 30%? Do you think we're gonna get to that point where they're treating it like the Tundra and seeing huge discounts like that? I don't know, we're heading that direction based on how many are just sitting on dealership lots right out of the gate, which is pretty pathetic for Toyota. So as always guys, I do sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. If you haven't already, I respectfully request that you consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a lot, and hopefully eventually one day we'll be a big enough channel to where we can actually send a signal to Toyota and have them make some positive changes for our favorite vehicles. So thanks for watching as always. Till next time.